Game started.
Oh, PSAS. P's and A's. I don't know. Okay, how about a Sicilian? Did the French last time. Played a Scandinavian recently. I should play E5 next, I guess. Next time I see this. Okay, so we have a normal open Sicilian. Well, why don't I play the dragon variation? I haven't played that in a while. Let's see what happens. Very risky opening for black, because white gets almost an automatic attack. I think the most dangerous way to play is with the move f3 and bishop to e3, the moves bishop e3 and f3. But this has some points. It stops me from playing d5, which would be kind of an equalizing move in the center. It's sort of encouraging me to play e6, but I don't really want to play that. I'm going to go straight for e5 here. But I'm going to delay that decision for a while and develop my pieces. Knight, knight on c6. Bishop on d7 or e6. Castle first. So now he's got this bishop here. So I can play the move. He hasn't stopped me from playing knight to g4 there, which is what f3 does. It stops knight g4. Yeah, why don't I play that? I think it's useful to distract this bishop a bit. It keeps the bishop out of this square. Yeah, the bishop goes to these squares, I can hit it. It can't go here because the pawn to e5 is a fork of the bishop of the knight. So the only square it can really go to is g5. And, well, I can't play f6 because of the pin from this bishop. But I could play h6 and kick it around a bit. Okay, so PSAS is stopping to think. What else could he play? Bishop to g5. Yeah, bishop back to e2. Probably the move. Now I'm just going to develop. I might trade off this knight and play bishop e6. Is that an idea? He could double my pawns, but it would open the f-file. This is another reason why you don't want to play e6 sometimes, because it would block the line of communication between the bishop and the knight, and knight to g5 would not be possible. If he doesn't take my knight, I guess, oh yeah, so he takes it. I was thinking maybe bishop d7, rook c8, and knight to e5 is an idea. So I can play knight to e5 here. Hits his bishop, so it gains another tempo for me. There he is, queen to b6 check as well. Queen b6 check. Bishop here is not possible because I can just take it. So we can't really block it, except maybe rook. You know, he can't even play that. So queen here check seems pretty powerful. The knight is guarding these squares. Nobody can get to this square, and if he plays that, then I win the exchange, because that knight there forks the king and the queen. So that's the advantage of not responding immediately to these attacks, but looking for intermediate moves. So good little lesson there. Anyway, yeah, the dragon variation is not bad, except if white knows what he's doing, you get into real trouble. But even then, it's an entertaining game. Maybe I'll play it more often. In over the board chess, I've given it up. I used to play it, and in my
server announcement
over the board repertoire these days, I play pretty much exclusively the classical Sicilian. So he's attacking e7. So let's just defend it, as long as my queen isn't going to get trapped. And there's no tactic on f7 that I notice. You can sack the bishop there, but there's no follow-up because this knight is gone. His knight is on the other side of the board. His remaining knight. And getting his queen out is probably a good idea. So the simplest way to win this is to get the queens off and play a better ending. So let's try this. Then I can play a move like king to f8 and pawn to f6 to get rid of this bishop. Or I could play h6. Okay, so his queen just goes away. Ah, that's, yeah, he's holding on to the bishop. I can play d5, perhaps. d5, pawn takes, knight takes, or bishop takes. Yeah, that's not so good. There is bishop e6. a6 is not playable. Okay, he's got the move rook to d8 to harass my queen again. Yeah, let's challenge the bishop. So it allows him to mess up my pawn structure, but it's not too bad. Gives me more central pawns. And an open f-file. Of course, the f-file is not really hitting on anything, so the open f-file is no great achievement in this position. Let's see. If he doesn't want to trade, he could move the bishop away. Yeah, probably the only square to move it to. But now I can kick this guy. That was the reason for dealing with the bishop, is I want to get rid of this guy. So I have to be a little bit careful here. I guess he was threatening bishop to b7, which would hit my rook and this pawn, so it'd pick up a pawn at least.
Take back requested.
Okay, I made a horrible blunder here, didn't I? So my opponent
Take
wanted
back
to
accepted.
My opponent is giving me another chance. I didn't request that take back, my opponent did. Okay, he wants me to think about this, huh? Okay, how about here? That was a really silly move. Queen back to b6 where the bishop can take it. Yeah, I don't normally request takebacks. I normally just accept my defeat. You know, how are you going to learn if you don't take your defeat? But if my opponent wants to play on, that's fine. It makes it a more interesting game. Okay. So I'm opening up this diagonal here to the knight. He's taking there. Okay, I'm harassing the bishop. The bishop can go to b7 now. But my point is, I can take the knight now. Can I? No, I can't take the knight now. Go here. He's going to go to c6. Then I go here. And then I can take the knight, perhaps. Where is that bishop going? Can the bishop be defended? Queen here. No, the bishop cannot be defended. The bishop can move. Yeah, probably bishop e5, and that forces me to take because my bishop is hanging. Take, and then he can take back with the knight, and then his knight is out of trouble. So I was trying to get this tactic going where I take the knight and he takes back, he loses the rook because the rook on the back rank is undefended. But yeah, simply bishop to e5, bishop, or is that d5? Yeah, bishop d5. Okay, well, once again, now that knight is really hanging, but my queen is hanging too, so. What's he got here? See, bishop to d5 again, because if I take the knight, he takes my bishop. So I would rather take his bishop, and then he can take back with the knight. Then I could grab on c2. Okay, so are there other ideas besides bishop d5 here? Bishop takes pawn, that's defended. Knight here loses the bishop. Yeah, bishop d5, I think that was really the only move. Now, here is check. So if I take, I was planning queen takes c7, but the knight is going to take here with check. So knight here, so maybe queen here. Getting away from the knight. It can't hit me again, and I can play e6 there. Hit the knight and chase it away. The knight has no squares it can go to here, so it would have to go back somewhere, there or there. No, that's not a good square either. Okay, so that forces the knight to go to f4. Right, that's the only square it can go to. No other tricks. Nothing up my sleeve. Okay. So let's pile up on the c file, hitting the a pawn. I can double on the c file. Queen still protecting a7. Bishop, knight. Knight is not hitting any targets right now. Okay, I could take that with the queen. No, it leaves this hanging. I'm missing stuff today. Okay, but that's not fatal. But that's too bad. I mean, the pawn there it was a good pawn. It's a shame to lose it for no particular reason. But now I'm threatening to take on c2. He can grab the bishop. He can grab the bishop and check me here. He should do that. Knight takes. g7, king takes. And then bishop there. So let's throw in this threat to his queen first. He needs to take. And I do have a threat on the back rank, but I think he can block it. He can get a bishop to the square. I have to check this out. This may be a losing. So rook takes, queen here, check. Rook back, rook takes, check. Bishop takes, queen takes, check. Yeah, so I'll get to try it. So check. The king has no moves. The bishop can go here. And then this is hanging, so I have to take. Aha, plays that way. So now, if I take the knight, I will still have, he can check me here, but I don't think it's fatal. I hope it's not fatal.
Check.
Because he could have checked me there with the queen, too. That might have been more interesting. But after this check, I don't know. Don't know that black has anything. I'm going to play rook to a7. No, maybe queen to c6, threatening rook c1. Ah, the bishop guards c1. But if the bishop guards c1, then I can play the rook here, protecting my queen.
Check.
Threatening. Okay, this is getting dangerous. So if I go here, bishop here, check. I go here, bishop there, check. I go here, is there a queen check? Let's try this.
Check.
Well, he goes queen there, check. Okay, so let's go this way so
Check.
I can protect the pawn.
Check.
And I'm still threatening a pretty devastating back rank check there.
Check.
Ooh, that's a nice one. If I go up here, he's got queen check there, picking up the rook. So let's go here.
Check.
Queen check there, and then back here. Is there a check in this position? No. Okay. So I get a breather. Let's think. Check in the back rank I can play. Force the king up to a dark square. Well, this is really tough. I think I want to try and get my rook back to defend rather than try and check his king, because that's a fine square for his king. So I put the rook here. I'm threatening to bring it back to c8 here. Oh, he's going after that pawn. That's pretty annoying. Wow. And let's see, I can defend the pawn this way. He's got a check here. I can
Checkmate.
He checkmated me. Okay, well, that was a pretty entertaining game, but I deserved to lose much earlier, so I will go ahead and upload that.